Welcome back to the Consciously Creating Your 2025 Summit. I am so excited to introduce you or reacquaint you with Cassandra Joan Butler, one of my absolute favorite astrologers, teachers, and friends. So, Cassandra, welcome to the summit.
Thank you. So I'm so grateful that you are doing this and that you invited me. What a wonderful opportunity for you to touch the public in a positive way.
Oh, thank you so much. We
Mhm.
all want to know what's coming up, right? And so people often
Mhm.
ask me, Sam, what's going on for 2025, right? And what better way to answer than to bring the people that I look up to and adore and admire, and all of us come together because there's a lot of big themes for 2025. And each of us has a slightly different take on it. And at the same time, we enhance each other's responses. So I find that this is a beautiful way for everyone to really go in feeling loved, secure, and held during all of this
Mhm.
transformative process.
Beautiful. It really is. And that's the key word for 2025. I have to every year I do a kind of a clever meme about the year ahead. I mean, 2020 was the year of transformation. I think that 2025 is the year of cognitive or mental, that doesn't have a ring to it. Thought transformation. Ah, there you go. Thought transformation. Our thoughts will change. We will
Yes,
align with the thoughts and the mind of God.
I
And we
love
got to throw
that.
the G in there. Yeah, because we got to throw the G in there, the original G, right? OG. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm really not. But
I
um,
know.
it- but we are in a threshold of a new generation with Pluto going into Aquarius.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So before we dive in, for those who are just getting to meet you for the first time, do you mind sharing a little bit about yourself and some of the amazing work you do?
Sure. Sure. Um, I'm what's called in this astrological or using astrology, a transpersonal person. Oh, that sounds like I'm from another planet. I'm not. I'm from this planet, born to a very middle class mom and dad. But when I was born, I had Neptune next to my sun. So my nickname as a kid was Spacey Sandy. Like my head's always the clouds. And then I've got the logical planet Uranus exactly squaring my sun. So I'm a fierce observer of life and very eclectic and go into different directions. I've started studying astrology when I was 9. I mean, consciously studying astrology. I went to a school for gifted kids. I was identified at age 13, and I dove into stuff like mythology and cosmology. You're gonna laugh. I was taught by Pierist priests who had escaped from the Hungarian Revolution and formed this little enclave of intellectualism for little kids. And so I did all this stuff. I was learning about the Egyptian creation myths when I was in my teenager years. I was very, very, very nerdy, actually, Sam. And so I used all that early education and I dovetailed it into both the media, because I worked in the media for a bit, and social work, but all the while there was a spine called astrology. So I can, with good assurance, say I've been studying astrology for 50 years. That's a long time.
Beautiful.
So that's what I do. And I look at everything through the lens of symbolism. Like the colors we're wearing today, no coincidence.
No, not
Some
at all.
people,
And it's not what I originally picked out.
me neither.
Isn't that
Because,
funny?
yeah, because the new moon in 2025, which ushers in the age of the snake, the astrological age of the snake, using Chinese astrology, the colors are red and black. Isn't that interesting?
It really is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Turning off my
beautiful.
phone. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is fabulous what you're doing. You are so inspired to do this, Sam. This is really great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited to bring it back. And I think it's well timed. People are really understanding that we are undergoing a shift. We are, we had some in denial for a little while there. And they're like, "Oh, you guys are nuts. Nothing's changing. We're fine. Everything's the same." But now I think everybody's on the same page of, okay, we're not going back. Okay. but what is forward, right? And so what I love about connecting with you and other inspirational people is that we can share that, yes, there is the unknown, but we don't necessarily have to dive into that unknown with fear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thesis. And we don't have to dive into the unknown not only with fear, but alone. Now, forgive me if this sounds evangelical, because I'm not evangelical. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Believe in something bigger than yourself.
Yes.
You know, I have my beliefs, and even if my beliefs are similar to your beliefs, they might be somewhat dissimilar because we're all individual specks of light. And
Yeah.
so our concept of the divine, of the creator, of God is going to be that much different from our eyeball perspective. But that would be number one. And in astrology, there's something called the part of spirit, by the way. So what I've been doing in the past couple of years for it, I do a lot of readings for a lot of spiritual people. I'm at Lily Dale, a lot of, mediums and psychics and so forth. They want to see their chart from a spiritual perspective. And there's a part of spirit in everyone's chart. And so the part of spirit is our inner GPS to connect with guidance. And the number one lesson in 2025, it's over, friends. We went from 2008 or 2008 until 2024, and we were finding the holes in the power elite telling us what to do and how to do it. As you know, that was in Pluto, was in the sign of Capricorn, tearing down structures, tearing down the old way. So we don't have to embrace what someone tells us at all anymore. Connect as above, so below, as within, so without, and be your own authority. We've done that lesson. We learned that lesson, and it's a little rocky, a lot rocky for myself included. But it's 2025 opens up a new cycle of 20 years until 2044 when we have to, number one, control our mind, control our thoughts, be an agent of our thinking, and connect with spirit, God of our understanding.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And I feel that so much. Um, I was sharing with someone the other day. We went through a transformation in society where we went from being a front porch society where we knew our neighbors and we greeted everyone and our door was open to very much that closed off back door, right? Back porch. And I really feel that immersion of coming back out to the front porch again and that ability to
Mhm.
connect with our neighbors and see them as they are, not as we want them to be. And I think that's a
Mhm.
really beautiful way of seeing society in this change and understanding that, yes, we may have differences, but we definitely have way more similarities and we can all come
Mhm.
back together again.
Yes, yes, yes. And the oneness in astrology is what we this let me rewind a minute for those of I see everything through the lens of the heavens through astrology. There's 12 ingredients, but we're baking a pie. Okay, everyone has the same 12 ingredients, but in different capacities and so forth. So, some of us might have just a peppering of Aries. Some of us might have the main ingredient is Pisces. So in 2025, we are basically understanding what you just said is the oneness. Because as we go through from January 13th until July of 2026, we have what we call the eclipse or nodal shifting that's going on. That defines the collective conversation. So when you say oneness and we're moving towards that understanding, that's Pisces. Pisces is being emphasized for the next year and a half. So I hurt you, I'm hurting myself. And if
Beautiful.
people really got that, they wouldn't be hurtful.
That's right. That's so true.
Mhm. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's so beautiful that as well in around these conversations, I know, the we've seen some uncomfortable, disheartening, sad situations of how people are treating people. Certainly globally, we've seen that. But we've also seen great examples of people showing up and helping people, right? And
Mhm,
people showing up and just, it doesn't matter who you are, I'm here to help you. And I
mhm.
think that that's something we have to always remember is that we have that choice. We have that choice to show up with our arms open or show up with our arms crossed. And I
Mhm.
really feel like the energies coming forward for 2025 are really going to embody that fully.
I do too. I do too. We'll be dreaming a new dream as well. Dreaming a new dream. Um, because the dream planet Neptune will be going into the sign of Aries. Now, it kind of flirts with that sign, but Neptune is the highest and best expression of God's heart. Neptune is universal imagination, sharing the dream. And so when it's in Aries, Aries is kind of we're wearing Aries colors today, by the way. Aries is red. Um, Aries is the sign of the spark of individuality. We can't lose our spark of individuality and uniqueness in the sea of connecting with the collective consciousness,
Yeah.
because then we have both. And actually, the dream of the United States of America had that in place, right? It's democracy, but protection of the rights of the individual. So, by the way, the energies in 2025 are mirroring the beginning of the United States's inception and consolidation as a union, because the planet Pluto that I'm going to be referring to quite a lot is has an orbit of 250 years. So the last time it was in Aquarius was in 1798. Oh, baby. So that means that we're going through a revolution of thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And what are some of the things that you do when you're going through these transformations, whether that be of thought or of feelings or in life in general? What are some of the things that you do to help you stay grounded during those processes?
Sure. Um, I think I discovered this in 1984-ish when I was going through another huge transformation. I was moving away from, I use the word professional, i.e., professional. I mean, a lot of us are, for example, I would say all of us are psychic mediums. But the
Yeah.
minute that you get paid or the part a public marketplace, you are what we call a professional psychic or medium. So in 1984, I was transitioning from doing media work, reporting, and so forth, um, the old school journalistic milieu, and I started moving into more spiritual offerings. I was stressed and I was um, conflicted with my parents. What? You're doing that? You're becoming an astrologer? Blah, blah, blah. Mostly my father, God rest him. So when we do a birthing, a rebirthing of ourselves, of our identity, guarantee we're going to have people questioning who we are. That
Yeah.
just goes with the territory. And I think anyone who's maybe in the public domain as a spiritual mentor, psychic, medium, has experienced that with someone that they're close with. All right. So back then I discovered, and I still repeat that now because I still go through stuff. My gosh, do I ever go through stuff, Sam? No, no, no. But I always remember three things: mind, body, and spirit. I have to up the ante to work out at this age. I'm not maybe doing as much iron anymore, but I'm walking. And praying, number two, meditating, being by myself. If you are constantly being stimulated by, and that includes the media. Oh God, we got to turn off our electronic media to the best of our ability. It's addictive. So being alone with your own thoughts and preferably in nature. So prayer, nature, and physical movement. That's what calms me. I make a point I make a date with myself. I tell my kids, "Hey, I'm going on a date this weekend." Oh, Mom, we're so happy. Yeah, with myself. I'm going to go in the woods because I have to sustain the mental emotional stuff. Very simple things that I'm talking about that we all can probably do. Even if we live in a big city, we can walk in the city park, hopefully,
Absolutely.
or
Yeah.
drive in the city park.
Yeah, absolutely. You would absolutely love my new home, Cassandra, because we are in the middle of nowhere, an hour from the city. You can't even get self-service there. So it is actual true quiet. It's wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we can see
So
every
cool.
star that you could ever imagine. You can see them all. It's just
Oh, honey, that's
beautiful.
awesome. That is
Yeah,
so awesome.
yeah, yeah. It's
And
absolutely
don't you feel
wonderful.
more relaxed?
I do. I do. When I'm in a city, I actually hear like hydro poles hum. Like I find that I feel and hear them all the sounds, all the
Mhm.
vibrations and stuff like that. I have a hard time sleeping in cities. But when I'm out in nature and out in the quiet, then I sleep like a baby.
Me too. Me too. I my life in my life, I have a home that I've been in for 30 odd years in the suburbs of Buffalo. It's a nice home. It's still in the suburbs and a lot of activity near the airport, you know. But then I have a little retreat house outside Lilydale. So that's where I go. And I'll drive 2 hours in a day to be there for an hour.
Yes.
And I'm up against the woods overlooking a lake. And it's just like, okay, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. I want to go back to something you said that these strategies are easy and anyone can implement them. And it's interesting because when we offer an easy solution, that's when the conscious mind goes, well, no, it can't be that easy, right?
Right.
We have to complicate it and stuff like that. And so do you have any suggestions for those who are struggling with that whole like it can't really be that easy?
Sure. Um, oh gosh, that's gonna sound real arrogant.
No,
I've been
that's
on this
okay.
planet, I've been on the planet 7 decades. And I've tried the complex, I've tried the easy to maintain my integrity and my sovereignty. And easy, keep it simple. You know,
Yeah.
kiss. I don't like the word stupid, but keep it simple and
Sweetheart.
special. We'll call it
Sweetheart.
and
Yeah.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, no, I'm very careful with words. And that's one of the things. It all starts with us. Watch your words. Words matter. We learned that in 2020. That was the conversation of the eclipses in the sign of Gemini. Then we came up to 2022, January 19th of 2022. And then the collective conversation went into survival. We were worried about living or dying. That was the Ukraine war. Whoops. Are you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay. Okay, you can still see me. I just
Yeah.
okay, perfect. That was the Ukraine war and the fear that, oh my gosh, we're gonna have a catastrophic. We're more worried about a catastrophe with Russia in 2022, as I recall, and food shortages than we were most recently. And so I'm talking about the backstory. And to your point, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. My belief is that there's always conversations vis-a-vis through astrology that's infiltrating our awareness, and we have to be sovereign enough to say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, so fear came up in the awareness in 2022. Fear was focused in 2020. And the new conversation in 2025 and 2026 is on and around health and healing, spirituality, and get this one, food safety.
Hmm.
That was one of the reasons why I unlike many astrologers, absolutely knew that a certain previous president would be reelected, not just because of Donald Trump's agenda, but because in divine grace, he's connected with Robert Kennedy Jr. Now, again, I look at the whole of things, right? So Bobby Kennedy is an impulse that reflects 2025's theme of health and healing and food. What happened
Yeah,
in 2024? It's still happening. You can't even go to McDonald's anymore, Sam, without dying. You know that, right? We've had so many food recalls, and I'm being very facetious. I'm not a big
yeah,
Mickey D's person, but we are entering a stage of awareness. We have to take care of our physicality. So to what your original question was, how do I maintain myself? I forgot the other piece with the body is not eat crap. I mean, just really focus
yeah.
because we are what we eat.
Absolutely. And it's so interesting. I do coaching, I'm a psychic medium, but I have 4 or 5 clients right now that their coaching is all around me teaching them how to seed save, how to start seeds so they can plant food, how to raise chickens. Totally not anything that if you had asked me 15 years ago, Sam, what are you going to do in your practice? I would never have assumed that. It's not advertised anywhere, but people will message and they'll say, I know that you live this way. Can you help me? Absolutely, I can help you. And it's just
Mhm.
so interesting because I never would have seen myself teaching these things, but it has certainly come up over the last couple years.
That's so awesome. Was that
Yeah,
what that was some of the impulse for you to be out in the country? I would imagine.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we have ducks and chickens and bunnies and all kinds of great little
Oh, I
friends.
want to
We can
visit.
make
So
that happen.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Now, you mentioned to me that you might have some tips for people regarding their sun signs and what's coming up for them
Mhm.
over
Yeah.
2025. Do you mind sharing those with us?
Oh, sure. I'll just kind of talk it through, right? So, keeping in mind that I'll explain the backstory. So, I said earlier, you asked me about my background. I said I was a transpersonal person, what it means that your personal planets, your ego planets, your loving planets, your will force planets, Mars, Venus, Sun, are under the conjunction or very close to the bigger planets that mark off generations. Like I truly became much happier when I realized that being an astrologer or being a psychic medium is not your ordinary path, it's a calling. And when you
Yes.
just succumb and accept and surrender to that realization, then you're not sitting around saying, oh, why aren't I like everybody else? Because we're not. And it's
Yeah.
okay. All right. Having said that, one of those transpersonal planets, which is right next to my moon, is called Pluto. And it marks off generations. So we are in the threshold of a new generation that started we are sharing this video on November 19th, and it goes in the sign of Aquarius until 2044. So all the babies born in late 2024 through 2044 are this generation. And this generation is about mindfulness, power, will force, creativity, and transforming the interconnection between the human and the technological. So that there's some fear associated with that. I love the fact that you're kind of homesteading. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a very earthy type of person. I have lots of earth in my chart. I love nature. So that's why I gave the suggestions. You want to get more spiritual and grounded? Go into the woods. That
Yep.
might not work for everybody. All right. So I'm going to go through this transformative movement of Pluto in the sign of Aquarius for each of the signs. So if you are Aries or Aries rising, the main impulse for the next 20 years is for you to connect with your tribe, to become a leader within your friendship group, um, joining groups, community action, being there for groups of others and do your leadership with that. Be an inspiration. If you're Taurus or Taurus rising, it's all about the way you are connecting with your career. You might reinvent your career, Taurus or Taurus rising. You might say, oh, I've always wanted to be a a dancer. So I'm 80 years old. I'm going to start a dance studio. Follow your heart's desire. If you're Taurus, for the next, starting in 2025. If you're Gemini or Gemini rising, you wanted to write that book, you wanted to teach that class, you wanted to travel to that country. This is the year to launch that for you, Gemini. For Cancer or Cancer rising, it's all about tapping into your inner spirituality, your psychic self, your mediumistic self, and bring that out to the forefront. Be aware of your inner power. We're all extremely powerful. If you're Leo or Leo rising, it's all about your partnership, looking at the way you partner. All right. So some of us take that for granted. We're married, we have a BFF. You don't take that for granted this upcoming year, Leo. You just step into your power and empower your loved one. For Virgo, it's all about your health. It's all about you making a stand with your eating, with your sleeping, and with your movement. Libra gets to play. This next 20 years, tap into your wild creativity, Libra, and create something that makes your heart sing. For Scorpio or Scorpio rising, this transformation is about your family, where you live, how you live. You might move, remodel. There'll be changes within your family, Scorpio. For Sagittarius, the transformation of 2025 for the next 20 years is all about the way you think, the way you relate to time. You might change up your schedule and reorganize your thoughts in a new way. For Capricorn or Capricorn rising, it's all about the way you're making money. How are you making abundance in your life happen for you? Pluto's going to help that, making you very powerful in that sense. For Aquarius, it's about you. Oh my gosh. Aquarius is the sign of eccentricity and eclecticness. This Pluto is going to make you very authentic, Aquarius. It's going to really promote you in a new way. And our beautiful Pisces friends, it's about you listening to your inner voice, expanding your meditative or prayer life, and it's okay to be alone sometimes, Pisces. Don't sweat it. So that's some of the themes for the 12 signs. I hope everyone found their chart in that. And when I said rising sign or sun sign, Sam, how this works. Each of us have a time of birth, and that might be the same rising sign, what was on the eastern horizon in the place of our birth, which may or may not be the same as the sun sign.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll toss in a little video to show you guys how to figure out what your sun, moon, and rising are. And that'll really help you too with some of the things
Oh,
that
good.
Sandra's sharing. So one of the things that you have shared a couple times that I find sometimes people struggle with, there's a disconnection there, is this whole idea of prayer and how to pray. Because if people haven't been raised in a way that that's encouraged or taught or valued, sometimes they right away go to religion, right? And so I'm wondering, do you have any strategies that can help people understand what is prayer and how can we do that?
Okay. Um, there's an old saying that meditation is when we sit and listen to God, and prayer is when we talk to God.
Yeah, I love that.
And right, so there's a communication back and forth. When you look at the Taoist point of view, philosophically and spiritually, everyone has seen the yin yang symbol, right? The little black in the middle of the dark, or in the middle of the white. It's a very active symbol, and the light in the sign of the darkness is a very um, energized symbol. When I first went to Lilydale, when I was 13, I had a teacher named Bill Coven, registered medium from Toronto. In fact, I stumbled upon a beautiful memorial bench for him outside
Oh,
of,
nice.
yeah, the Maplewood. And I thought, he used to be my teacher. We're talking a very long time ago. We're talking 40 years ago, 50 years ago. 50. Oh my. Anyway, he sat down with me, he taught me how to meditate, and I saw that symbol. Now, that symbol has stayed with me as a philosophical touchstone during the years I taught shiatsu in college, because I'm also a massage therapist. So I was the only full-time professor that was teaching shiatsu in a college in New York State. Shiatsu is based on the symbol of yin and yang, negative, positive. I'm getting to a point here. So I heard you say, "Oh, religion, yuck." You didn't say yuck, but most of us have had yucky experiences with religion. I would say a majority. But at the seed of the religious traditions was the purity of spirituality. And
Yep.
sometimes they get cloaked over. And that can happen in any, stay with me a minute, Capricornian structure that we have seen dissolved since 2008. We want to believe in our leaders. We want to believe in our Pope and our presidents, our prime ministers. But guess what? They've got holes in them. They've got misalignment. So back to prayer and meditation. Um, Even if you weren't raised in a religious or spiritual house, I think most of us in a culture, things have filtered down. And many of us, myself included, like I was a religion major, literally a religion major, when I went to McMaster University for a while in Canada. And then I went to social work school at Cornell and I went to Syracuse. I love learning. But the point of the matter is when we do a little research, trust what resonates with you. Maybe, like I'm part of a group on TikTok that prays the Catholic Rosary once a day. In that group, there are Hindu folks and Muslim folk, I swear, Muslim folks, Jewish folks, agnostics, atheists, and they pray in the beads. And the guy kind of puts you through that. Mala beads are another reminder. When I was in Egypt, everyone has their mala beads. All right. So everyone can find a touchstone and try it on. Try it on. Because prayer is when you're putting your intentions out. Now, a lot of people in the New Age, quote unquote, which I guess I've been a part of since 1985, we had the harmonic experience in 1987. Harmonic convergence was called, when people gathered at power sites like at Niagara Falls and the Sphinx all across the world and held hands. And yes, we did sing Kumbaya, and prayed. And we kind of joined forces with these PowerPoints. But everyone can find something that can inspire you and try it on. And that's why I talk about the spiritual GPS inside your chart. So I always start with a chart. What type? I can look at a chart and tell you what you believe in. I can look at a chart. You've got lots of Pisces, you're probably old school Christian. If you're a lot of Aquarius, you're an agnostic that believes in UFOs, et cetera, et cetera. There's
Yep.
nothing wrong with different avenues, but just acknowledge something bigger than yourself, because that's where the arrogance comes in. And every mainstream religion says pride comes before the fall.
Absolutely.
So, so, so acknowledge that you are a speck on a wheel, but you are a very significant speck because you have a speck of your own personal consciousness. Consciousness is an amazing thing. That's what you're doing this for. Become conscious of our awareness is a process. And in 2025, it's huge. We're in a new level of consciousness, and we can all help each other with tools of which you're sharing with.
Oh, beautiful. I love it. I love it. Thank you for that. One of the things I share with my students I teach them to have a daily practice of connecting with spirit. So we'll have our
Yep.
date with spirit. And
Mhm.
and they'll say, okay, I do that when I meditate. And I say, no, meditation is for you. Your date with spirit is your relationship with spirit. And once you get that, it's so easy to connect. It is so
Yep.
easy to connect. but we do better with one when we do the other as well. So dates with
Exactly.
spirit will take us so far, but if we don't have that relationship with ourselves, that's the bigger one, right? And our own connection to the divine comes first. So thank you for touching on that, because I know that question comes up sometimes when people say, "Oh, prayer, do you mean like religion?" No, not at all. Not at all. And
Not at
yes,
all. Not at all.
right? It just depends on what your belief
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Native Americans call their God of their understanding, creator God, Father Sky, Mother Earth, for example, in a lot of the indigenous religions, the cults, pagans, they see God and goddess within nature, which is an awesome thing. But you'll notice in every tradition I can think of, there's always an acknowledgement that there's a force. People refer to the universe, cosmic consciousness, that's outside of ourselves. Connect with that. The
Yeah.
name might not be as important as you might think. I mean, it might be important to me, but use a name, invoke that. Back in the 70s and 80s, it was called the higher self. So the point is, if we don't acknowledge that, then man becomes the creator God. And that is the shadow side of the next 20 years, the age of Aquarius with Pluto. And I bristle at that. What do I am talking about? So Aquarius rules technology, and people can disagree with me. They do. And Aquarius is really off-planet technology as well. So predictions for the next 20 years, we're going to have an infiltration and an integration of AI in our daily lives. Just like once upon a time, I pushed back against this thing. Oh, I don't need a cell phone. I don't need a smartphone. Who doesn't have a smartphone? This is our own personal, I am a phone. Oh, iPhone, I'm a phone. When I realized that, I thought, I feel really unconnected if I leave the house without it.
Yeah.
Um,
We can't even
there's a
bank
danger with
without a
that.
phone.
Was
You know,
that?
I don't know if it's the same in the United States, but in Canada, you can't bank without a phone, because if you go to the teller, they
Mm,
send you a code and you have to give them that code in order to access your bank account.
that's not here yet.
Yeah.
That's not here yet. But yeah, the QR code is another huge awareness. I'm not saying AI and all the technology is a bad thing, but we still have to make that separation. So that's
Yeah.
why it's more critical than ever to follow the whisperings of the passing nodes in 2025 and 2026 of Pisces. Do we really want to have a chip on our head? Okay. Do we really want to be part of a matrix like a beehive, like an anthill? There's danger with every sign. So, sovereignty, creativity, individuality is going to keep us from being sucked into neutrality of too much oneness. It's
Yeah.
okay to be a maverick. It's okay to have a consciousness desire to be different within the sameness. It's a conundrum, Sam, and I think anything in life is like that. There's a polarization on this planet. We have day and night. So we have consciousness, so we have physicality. We want to blend that and not be too polarizing.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And, you know, it's so true. You're talking about the phone and resisting it. We all resist that new technology, but once it's in, people find it very helpful. And yet there is that pendulum swing. You know, we look at parenting. I'm so grateful I got to parent without phones. So, so grateful, because I see parents really struggling with putting down the phone so that they can have that human interaction with their little ones.
Yeah,
And no judgment there, but it is an issue. It's a struggle. So we have whole
yeah.
generations of children growing up who've not had as much facial recognition as the phone's gotten facial recognition, right? It's a very interesting world where we are embarking.
Yes, ma'am. It's funny. I 30 years ago, my babies were babies. My adult 30-something-year-old children were babies 30 years ago. I'm living in a 30-year cycle, and astrology will mark those out with Saturn. So Saturn is back in Pisces, when it was when my babies are little. Now I have a grandbaby and I'm really involved with his life and his learning. So people say, "Oh, how can you do that? You must be exhausted." I know. I say, well, number one, when with Leo, yes, he's a Leo, I put my phone away and I'm totally interacting with him
Yeah.
to speak to your comment because I see a lot of parents are doing this. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah. Oh, and so anyway, that's I just looked down and someone said, "Oh, are we still on for our appointment?" I said, "Oh, oh right, I probably yeah, we are." But anyway, you're
Yeah.
awesome, Sam.
Oh, so are you. So are you. Now, you do one of my favorite things I look forward to every Wednesday night. Do you want to share with everybody what you're up to on Wednesday nights and also how they can find you and learn from you? And I will say, guys, I've taken many astrology classes for many years, and Cassandra, hands down, is my favorite teacher for beginning
Thank
astrologer.
you.
The way you're able to break it down and make it relevant is a gift like no other. So if you guys are interested in astrology, definitely look at Cassandra for when she does offer it next. So
Thank you, sweetheart. Well, every Wednesday night, and I hope I'll keep to that schedule indefinitely for the next 20 years, at 8:30 on Wednesdays, I do Cosmic Connections. It's a chance, and it's aired on Facebook. Sooner or later, it'll be on Instagram, wherever other platforms simultaneously, and YouTube. So people can join. I talk about the astrology of the week, and then I do a little mediumistic messages for people randomly. We do too. So that's only for half an hour. In 2025, I'm happy to announce I've been hired by the Astrology Hub people, and I'll be doing the Pisces cycle and give them a shout out. I'm also with the
I have been putting that
CIA.
recommendation in now for 4 years. So I'm so happy that you are going to be a part of Astrology Hub. That makes my heart
Oh,
happy.
thank you, darling. Oh, God bless you. Thank you. God has blessed you. God. See, the words don't matter, but I'm sending you gratitude.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it is Cassandra Joan Butler. That's my name, and I have a website and Facebook page and the rest of it. I'm not as good at that as I should be. See, there's the judgment. We're all busy. Some of us have laundry to do, right?
Yeah.
That's as important as anything.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here today and
You're
everything
welcome,
that
sweetheart.
you offer and do. And I so appreciate and love you. So thanks so much.
Thank you to you too, Sam. You're a bright light in this world. Thank you for your leadership, your wisdom, and grace.
Oh, thank you. All right, guys, I know you've really enjoyed this, and we've got some more amazing speakers coming up. So stay tuned. I invite you go and connect with Cassandra and have a look at all the ways you can like and follow her. And I will look forward to seeing you guys very soon.
Mhm.